Hi and welcome to the Arsenal Circle. Here to talk to you today about all of the game week 1 fixtures. I'm going to be going through all the World Cup game week 1 fixtures. I'm going to be going through all the games. If the important ones I'll breeze over, but sorry, not the unimportant ones I'll breeze over, and any big ones I'll talk about for a bit. But just kind of a roundup of the game week, how we're looking, what some teams might need to do to get through to the next round. Yeah. Anyway, so get through the group stage. So let's start off straight away. Qatar versus Ecuador. So 2-0 to Ecuador. I think is the expected result. So world rankings here very low, 50 and 44. It's the first time ever, I believe, that the host team has lost their opening game, and yeah, Valencia got a brace in this one. Fair enough to me. He actually played quite well in the game, and Qatar just kind of looked shambolic, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, I mean, look, two players rated in the greens, and obviously Valencia with the man of the match. I think Caicedo looked quite good. I'm a big fan of him. The two Brighton boys on the left, Estupinian as well, and yeah, just a general quite a good game from Ecuador. Solid opener. It is what it is. But the two that are likely to get through the group, Senegal and Netherlands. So Senegal lost 2-0 to the Netherlands, rank 8 and 18th now. And you know what? 2 goals near the death, so it's unlucky for Senegal not to get anything out of this. I will be honest. It's not one of the games that I watched. I did watch most of the games, but Netherlands Senegal I just couldn't watch. But it was, it is interesting to see, like, just the 2 goals at the end. I mean, we can go through it. We can go through some of the statistics. As well, look, it was quite an even game. Expected goals were in Senegal's favour, so it's really unfortunate for Senegal not to get something out of this, especially as I predicted them to top the group, which I will say I did predict while Mane was still available. But I guess that's the game. You're never going to be able to predict it all, but Football have given De Jong the man of the match here, so that is interesting. I do think that if Ecuador want a chance at getting through this group, a draw against Senegal would be quite good for them, because, and then, I think they need to beat Senegal actually, because I think Senegal can beat Qatar by more than 2 goals. But I'm going to stick with my prediction, but I'm going to say Netherlands will now top the group after this result. Let's move on to the next fixture. It's England versus Iran. Now, obviously, I did watch this one. 5th versus 20th. Iran are actually higher than I thought on the world rankings. But come on, we made them look like a joke. We were the better team, and we deserved to win. Saka with 2. He was my man of the match. Had a really good game. Shame he got brought off. And it's a formidable win for England, and it just means now that we need to go on to USA and win that match. Yeah. We had some good performances, as I said. Saka was man of the match. I did think from, who was I going to say, from Iran? Had a good, yeah, Taremi. Obviously, he got his 2 goals, but every time he was on the attack, he looked like a threat. And I say every time, it was only about twice. Look at this, 78% possession. So he really dominated Iran. And now, if they want a chance at getting through the group, they're going to have to beat USA and Wales, which is very unlikely. But they could do it. Especially because USA and Wales 1-1 full-time, FIFA World Ranking 16 and 19, just above Iran, both of these teams. Good to see Timothy Weah getting a goal. That's good for him. And Bale got man of the match with his not last minute penalty, but their 82nd minute penalty. I mean, I think it's good that both of these teams didn't pick up 3 points, because it means we're less challenged for that first position. If we beat USA tomorrow night, we do go. I believe we guaranteed to go through, which is it's quite big. But who do I think will go through out of USA and Wales? I think Wales might actually. I don't know. I didn't think USA looked that convincing. They didn't put a nail in the coffin when they were 1-0 up. I mean, I am aware, like, statistically here in terms of control of the game. But as you can see, look, 1.55 xg to 0.79 xg. So Wales, Wales were looked like more likely to score, right? But USA controlled the game, if that makes sense. I do think Wales will go through with us. Now, let's go on to the next group, Group C, and what a result for Saudi Arabia, ranked 51st, below Qatar in the world rankings, and they managed to beat Argentina 2-1. And I have to say, from the get-go, I was like, you know what, Saudi Arabia look really good here, and they did. And who's to say that they won't go through their group? They might, because all it takes is a point against Mexico or Poland, and they might go through that group. Messi obviously getting his goal with a penalty, of course he was going to score. But, man of the match here went to the Saudi Arabian goalkeeper, and I'd have to completely agree. He had a great game. I did watch this game, and I thought for the whole match that Saudi Arabia looked really strong. I did see something about this goal being ruled out to not have been correct or something, but realistically, Argentina should have they should be doing better. It shouldn't be that a VAR decision is relying on them to get a point. And who's to say that Argentina might not get grouped here now? Because Mexico and Poland aren't easy games, and they need to pick up 3 points from both of them pretty much. And that's not a guarantee, that's not a guarantee. And, as you can see by the game, definitely in Argentina's favour. But the thing Saudi Arabia had going for them is a similar thing with Iran, is when they went forward, they looked like a threat. The thing that Saudi Arabia had over Iran is that, defensively, they did better. Or, well, I say defensively, but it was mainly down to the keeper, as you can see. But, the defence wasn't bad, right? But that is interesting now, because Mexico and Poland, a 0-0 draw. Ochoa saving a penalty from Lewandowski, as he does, because he is the dream keeper when it comes to the World Cup. But I find this interesting. He did get man of the match. I do find this interesting because now it gets to a point where, because of this result, it is possible for Argentina to get a group. There's a world that happens, but there's also a world that Saudi Arabia get through, because I think if they pick up points against Mexico or Poland, like a 3-pointer, not even 3 points. If they get a point in each of those games, they're through. Or if they get a win in one of them, which is very doable. Like, it's not unlikely. You have to remember, it's only 3 games in the group stage. Any points matter. That's a big loss for Argentina to be losing to Saudi Arabia, because now they have to fight for 3 points against both Mexico and Poland. And if they are able to do that, and Saudi Arabia are able to do that, Saudi Arabia could go through. It's not something that is so unlikely to happen. And I do see a world where that happens. I do believe I predicted Poland and Argentina to go through, but I might just change it. The way I saw Saudi Arabia playing, I thought they looked really good going forward. I really liked it. But, obviously they weren't the best team in general. All 26 of their players play in the Saudi Arabian League. But, who's to say that they don't go through, right? Let's move on to the next group. We have Denmark and Tunisia, a 0-0 draw, and this is big news for Australia. But I will get on to that. So let's start off by saying I thought that Tunisia played phenomenally for their standards. They're ranked 30 and Denmark are ranked 10. Denmark are this presumed dark horses. Everyone thinks they're going to be the dark horses of the tournament. I don't think they will be. I still think they'll get through the group, but I didn't think that they'd be the dark horses of the tournament. As you see, the man of the match did go to the Tunisian goalkeeper, so it was evident that Denmark would dominate. I mean, look at this, right? So Denmark did have the majority of the control of the match, but there were some really, really convincing Tunisian performances. I don't know which one made the tackle at the start. It just got them riled up, and it was really impressive to see Tunisia keep that up for 90 minutes, and honestly, Tunisia could have won it at many points in that game, and I think it's unfortunate for Tunisia that they didn't pick up points there, even though Denmark had the majority of the control, because for a side that's less likely to get victories, for example, Saudi Arabia, this win here is so big because it's a bigger team. if that win was against Mexico or Poland, yeah, it's a big win. But now you're thinking, oh, they won't beat the other two teams. Now, if Tunisia was able to get this 3 points here, who says they don't beat Australia and go through? Now it's all up for grabs between all three, Denmark, Tunisia and Australia. Let's go on to it. France obviously ranked 4th and Australia ranked 38th. Australia actually scored first. They looked really strong. Props to Australia. They had a good team out, and they did look at some points like maybe they might just get something from this match. But it wasn't the case in the end. Giroud obviously got a man of the match. Let's talk about that quickly. He equaled Henry's record, and he looks good in the game. You can't deny it. The whole France squad actually looked a lot better than I thought it would. But Lloris, man, as FootMob says, Lloris, he didn't have a great game. I didn't think he did let in that goal from Goodwin, and there was almost another goal that went in that maybe he could have gone for. But that's just my personal opinion. But now you get to a point where if Australia can beat Tunisia and get a draw against Denmark, then they're through, because France should beat Denmark and Tunisia. So I'm quite happy with Group D, because it means that as expected, France will go through, but it leaves the competition open for Australia, Denmark and Tunisia, and I think it will go down to the last match week for those. So that's Group D. Let's move on to the next group, Group E. Big result. Can I say a lot of I don't want to say bad teams, but lower down on the FIFA ranks, like below 20 teams, were really performing well. Japan looked like a very good team. They looked like a cohesive unit. Going forward, they played a great game. Defensively, they were quite good. And, they only conceded a penalty. I know there was a goal ruled out that was offside, but they only conceded a penalty, and they got 2 of their own goals fair and square. It was Tomiyasu came on at half time. He had a good game. He looked very strong when he came on, and just in general, I thought that Japan, their play style was, it's something you don't usually see. It's something you don't really see nowadays. They just looked like a team that believed in themselves, right? They believed they could beat Germany, and they went out and they did that. And it's in my opinion, obviously Saudi Arabia result is the biggest surprise, I was going to say, but no, it's up there, right? This is a big shock, and the stats don't do it justice, but I will say I think Japan held their own in this game. The expected goals, fair enough, and the possession, fair enough, but Japan didn't look bad. And for me, they played their game, and they played it well, and they deserved the win that they got. Fair enough to them. But what does this mean for the rest of the group? Well, Spain decided to absolutely slap Costa Rica in the face and get 7 past them, which it's a bit rude. But for everyone saying that Spain don't have goals in them, there's 7. And that's the biggest win of the match week, and probably will be the biggest win of the tournament. As you can see, was there any hint of 0.00 XG? They didn't have a shot. They didn't have a big chance. They didn't have a corner. Jesus, I think it's nailed on. Costa Rica are out of the group, and there's nothing else to that. They're going out. I would have given. Would I have given it to Torres? I don't know. I thought Torres had quite a good game, but I guess he came off in the 57th minute. They've given it to Jordi Alba. Obviously, there's 2 goals for Torres, the only player to get 2 goals on that team. But Jesus, Costa Rica. Now it becomes a thing where will Japan get through or will Germany get through? Because if Spain is able to pick up 3 points against Germany, Japan will get the 3 points against Costa Rica. So I'm actually going to change my prediction on this one. I do believe I put Germany and Spain to go through. I'm going to send it Spain and Japan to get through the group. And why not? Japan will finish ahead of Spain, because Spain will draw to Germany. That's just wild prediction. Let's go for it. Why not? Yeah, fine. Moving on to the next game in Group F now. We have Morocco versus Croatia, and can I tell you that I do think I know I mentioned it before, but I don't know why I love this Moroccan team. I think they have so many underrated players. If you take their team for face value, it should get through the group. I think right now their team is stronger than Croatia on paper. However, I did seem to be wrong. I think Croatia had the better game. Yeah, Croatia played the better game, but it wasn't a very interesting game. It was there, right? It was a good game to watch, but not too much happened. You can see by the low XG. Hakimi gets man of the match here on FootMob. I don't know if I'd agree with that. Don't give any of them man of the match. It was there. There's another 0-0. What I will say is it's interesting to see how many 0-0s there were. I think it was 5 in total. 0-0s. Let's go on. So Belgium 1-0 Canada. So what this means now is, again, similarly to the France, Denmark, Tunisia, Australia group. Let's see. What's that? Group D. Right. We now have a situation where in Group F, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia will go through. Could go through. I still think Belgium will top the group. I mean, let's quickly talk about the Belgium match. Courtois got man of the match, and rightly so. He saved the penalty. He was really good in this game. And Jonathan David had a good game. I don't know why he's rated so low. He looked quite good, and I feel so bad for Davies for missing that penalty. I really wanted him to score, but that's the game, and you've just got to live with that. But fair enough to Courtois, man. He definitely deserves that man of the match performance. Yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, so now, yeah. So let's go on. So Canada, unlucky to not get a point, but it did look like Canada could go through as well. They're ranked 41. They're really low compared to Croatia's 12 and Morocco's 22. But I don't think it's impossible. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think Croatia will go through the group. They look very lackluster in the midfield. Look like all of their old strong midfield were missing a bit of it. They didn't look up for it going forward. They didn't look up for it defensively. They just couldn't look average. And so did Morocco, I will be honest. Even though I bigged up Morocco a lot. I do still think, however, that Morocco will go through this group. I don't know. I think they'll find it from somewhere. I don't know why I like the team so much, but if you look at Morocco's team on paper, man, like this is not a bad team at all, and it's not like their bench is that bad either. Like, come on. I do think they can go through. I don't know why I'm so fixated on Morocco. I know that Croatia also have quite a good team. I mean, look at this. I think Perisic had quite a bad game, by the way. But I'm spending too much time on this. I'm gonna say Belgium and Morocco to go through there. Moving on to the next game, Switzerland versus Cameroon. It was 1-0 to Switzerland. I didn't watch this one. I think it's the third game out of all of these that we mentioned I haven't watched. And yeah, Switzerland won 1-0 and Bolo goal. What I will say is nice is Granit Xhaka captained his team in the World Cup to victory, which is really nice. And I know he didn't have a bad game. They've given Sommer man of the match, so the XG doesn't really suggest that Sommer deserves a man of the match, but fair enough to him. I do think that this is just the expected result, right? No one expects Cameroon to go anywhere in this group that they're in, because they've got Brazil, Serbia in. Have I got the right group? Hold on, I might not have it in order. G, yeah. Sorry, I just have Group G before. Okay, I don't know why I have this group back here. Anyway, yeah. I don't know what anyway, sorry, that threw me off. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone expects Cameroon to get through this group of Switzerland, Brazil, and Serbia. But yeah, I guess it's fine. I do think Switzerland will get through this group along with Brazil. I don't think Serbia will, and I don't. If I'm being honest with you, Serbia didn't play a terrible game, but they didn't really look like they were going to score, and they have 5 in the midfield, and yet the midfield was mainly dominated by Brazil. Richarlison, as much as I hate to admit it, he played well. You have to give it to him, and a great goal. But I don't like that guy. And they've given him man of match, fair enough. I guess he deserves that. But, you know, Brazil played well. Brazil deserved the win. And Brazil were actually, you know, showing all these other big teams, you know, how it's done. Obviously, Brazil and England showing all the other big teams how it's done. Of course. No, but I'm going to stick with Brazil to win the tournament, I think, for now. You know, they are ranked 1. And I think they'll break that curse. But we'll see. We will see. Yes, I'll say Brazil and Switzerland to go through that group. Let's go on to Uruguay and South Korea, because I do think that South Korea had a really solid game, a really solid performance against Uruguay, who are, a lot of people are dubbing them as the dark horses of the tournament, right? But I do think that South Korea actually held their own. I mean, if we look at it here, it was a fairly even game. It was a deserved 0-0. Again, I think this is the 5th 0-0. A deserved 0-0. Completely, it went how it should have. In terms of the chances created, like nothing went against the run of play. And you know, just a solid game from Kim, really. No, I am joking, but Kim Min Jae did have a really good game. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say about this. I mean, it's just a game, isn't it? It's just kind of standard 0-0. I mean, it did get really intense towards the end, actually, and I did think that maybe Uruguay or South Korea might sneak one in, but it didn't happen. And you know, props to both teams. They both put in pretty decent performances, and they make each other look good. And I think the quality of the teams in the World Cup has greatly increased. I mean, I'm noticing lots of teams, you know, Japan played really well, Denmark, Tunisia, Mexico, all these teams in the 0-0s. I don't think there was a boring 0-0. There was some average 0-0s, but there wasn't a boring 0-0, and it was good to see that everyone's just up for it, you know what I mean? Everyone is really fighting for their club, their country, really fighting for this tournament to go through. Yeah. Anyway, and last group, in the last 2 teams, Portugal and Ghana, and I backed Ghana to go through, which makes it so painful that they didn't get that last minute goal. But this game in the first half could have gone either way, and in the second half it spiraled out of control. You know, 0-0 in the first half, a really good game. This one's the most fresh in my mind, by the way, because it's obviously just happened. But yeah, Portugal definitely deserved to win, and obviously Ronaldo got his goal. The man of the match has gone to Fernandes, which I would agree with, because Bruno Fernandes played a brilliant game. And yeah, he fully deserved to win. He fully deserves to get man of the match. Sorry, my mind's blanking there. But I did also think that Ronaldo played pretty good. He was actually putting in some runs for once, which is unusual for Ronaldo. But Footmob's got it spot on here. Pereira, Diaz, and Costa really didn't have great games. By the way, why is Costa starting? I don't know. Yeah, Leao came on. He looks pretty good. I thought Partey's been kind of shafted here. He had a pretty good game. I thought he was one of the better players. But I did think Kudus stood out quite a bit. This guy's a talent. He was just shooting shots from outside the box, and they all looked like they were going to go in somehow. But you know, so unfortunate for them not to get that last-minute goal. You know, he's caught the keeper off guard and then slipped as he could hit that open net. But again, it's the game. It's the game we're playing. And now it looks like Ghana might not get through the group. But you know, everyone's expecting to lose to Portugal. I do think if Ghana pick up some points in one of these two against one of these 2 teams, it is still a possibility. And again, it's another one of those groups where 3 possible teams could go through, and Portugal will probably top the group, right? Which is, it's good to see that it's not 2 teams are clearly going to make it through. I don't think there's a single group that you can say, yeah, these 2 teams have made it through. No, I don't think anyone could predict the right 2 teams in every group to go through right now, because of how it could go any way. In every single group it could go any way. Like Tunisia could get through the Denmark, Australia, France group. Ghana can get through this group, but so could South Korea and Uruguay. And I don't know, Canada can get through this group here, but so could Morocco and Croatia. So it's really good to see. I'm loving the competition. I mean, I know the vibe at this World Cup is not the same vibe as the usual World Cup, but I think the quality's really improved in terms of players, and I think that it's good to see that there's a lot of competition now, and everyone's fighting for their country. Everyone seems to be enjoying themselves, and even Costa Rica were, they're 7-0 down. Sorry, I was trying again. 7-0 down, and they were still fighting. They were still fighting for a goal. It's just something to give their fans. And I know that happens every World Cup, but it just felt special, man, to be able to watch these games. And I know it's not the usual vibe, but it still felt like a World Cup, in my opinion. Let me know what the biggest shock was for this game week, this run of fixtures, and let me know if there's a surprise team that you don't think will get through. If I had to pick a team that I would might not get through, surprisingly, I'm going to go with Germany. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'm going to be doing this for every match week and every group stage, every round of 16 match weeks, and I'll also be doing my predictions for the round of 16 once we know who's in the round of 16, so on, so forth. Anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye.